After analyzing in the first episode the heartbreaking reality of the homelessness crisis in Dublin, the challenge of affordable housing and its spiral and impact on the population, the alarming data of 2023, the drug epidemic, and consumption on the streets of Dublin, today in the second episode, you will learn about the questionable effectiveness of drug policies in Dublin, the growing danger posed by traffickers, the vicious cycle of addiction, the knackers, the debate about zero tolerance for young offenders, and the challenges faced by the population due to the violence they cause. This is Extraordinary Walks, Dublin on the Edge of the Abyss, Episode 2, Addicts and Knackers. Welcome. According to a research and development article written by Dr. Benjamin López Sánchez, a Spanish scholar, in relation to the drug problem, this nation has various care policies for these people due to its political structure. However, the effectiveness of these policies is questionable for the majority of the inhabitants. There are treatment centers, social reintegration programs, and humanitarian policies aimed at helping addicts, even in their own environment, and funding policies designed to improve the quality of life for these individuals, including scholarships. It is a holistic approach to improving the situation of these citizens. However, the vast majority of workers in Dublin have criticized the measures applied by the national government, claiming that there is an underlying subtext in the way the issue of dependent people is addressed. Many see in all these policies a way to fund comforts that do not lead to effective rehabilitation. Last year, the Archbishop of Dublin dedicated his sermon on the first Sunday of Advent to this issue, expressing that the uncontrolled spread of illegal substances in the capital has reached a point where drug use has become as normal as drinking. Dublin has become a point of interest for major drug traffickers and their criminal organizations, operating in the smuggling distribution throughout the country, generating significant profits. Reports indicate that they average $3.2 million per illegal shipment, according to data from Insight Crime. The Irish capital has entered a vicious cycle where there is a large number of addicted citizens who see government policies as an opportunity to obtain comforts, such as housing, while major criminal organizations continue to flood Dublin with illegal substances that maintain the dependence of these individuals. This has led to the presence of a large number of addicts in various sectors and neighborhoods of the city in 2023, according to reports from various local NGOs. Knacker is a word that should be used with caution, as it is a derogatory term for the Irish and is commonly used to describe wandering and maladjusted people who are on the streets causing trouble. Dubliners are familiar with this term applied to troublesome teenagers, as they often encounter them on the city streets. These young people usually come from disadvantaged areas or neighborhoods with low economic resources and tend to gather in less crowded places, such as quiet streets or squares. They have a peculiar way of dressing, often wearing tracksuits or sportswear, and many hide their faces with the hood of the sweatshirt. Sometimes, they are accompanied by dogs and often interact with others in a bothersome manner. The presence of knackers in the city is common, especially on weekends in the city center. They often rely on small state aid to survive and, in some cases, resort to petty thefts and even more serious crimes to supplement their income. If you are in Dublin and see a young knacker running, you might soon witness a tourist or a middle-class Irish person shouting about the loss of their belongings, such as cameras, wallets, or mobile phones. Although there is a real risk of being a victim of an assault by a knacker, compared to other groups in Latin America, they are generally not considered extremely dangerous. Often, simply distancing oneself, changing direction, or ignoring them is sufficient. However, in October 2023, ABC reminds us of the story of a young Mexican journalist who was a victim of an assault in Dublin that nearly cost him his life. Along with his girlfriend, they were heading to the bus stop when two teenagers in a red car approached them and demanded their belongings. When they refused, the assailants got into the vehicle and ran over the man, causing him serious injuries. The Irish Times reports on a massive brawl among teenagers at Borough Beach in the summer of 2023, where bottles were thrown and punches were exchanged, leading to the evacuation of Dublin Beach by the Garda. These are examples of the frequent attacks by these teenage criminals. Let's recall Operation Irene, launched in 2022 to combat underage alcohol consumption in public places throughout the Dublin metropolitan region, which seems not to be yielding significant results. Irish criminologist Trina O'Connor has advocated for adopting a zero-tolerance approach to dealing with young offenders, particularly after another shocking attack on an American tourist in central Dublin that changed his life due to the injuries suffered. O'Connor argues that many young people going through the judicial system receive punishments considered insufficient or inappropriate. She contends that what is happening within the criminal justice system is that young people are exposed to an environment that teaches them more about crime, and they are not provided with the necessary rehabilitation or appropriate punishments. In her view, there should be a zero-tolerance policy for violent crimes, and she argues that young people should be treated with compassion, but there are certain behaviors that cannot go without being criminalized. She points out that if they are given only a slap on the wrist and continue to offend, no favor is being done because it allows bad behavior. Additionally, she highlights that the mental health crisis facing young people, especially due to the pandemic, is not being adequately addressed. The lack of a holistic approach to addressing the underlying causes of youth crime is a problem that needs to be tackled. And you, like many citizens of Dublin, do you think the law should be tougher on these young offenders? And thus, we have reached the end of our extraordinary walk. If you enjoyed it, give us a like and subscribe to the channel for more content. Until the next extraordinary walk.